Hello and welcome to my session, Leading Through Extraordinary Circumstances. Yes, I've managed to say it. I'm Valérie Delforge. I'm an international business strategist consultant. And yes, I'm French. I've been in the UK for 30 years and in the hair and beauty industry for 30 years. I'm so excited to be talking to you through some really key elements of leadership, which is one of my favorite subjects. Having dealt with very large teams, up to 230 people at one point, I've really understood what leadership was and my skills that I needed to develop in order to empower others. Not only I needed to deliver, obviously, the figures and the budget and ensuring we reduce the cost and increase the profitability, but I also needed to manage teams that were perhaps a little bit demotivated, had been promised the earth and never happened, manage difficult kind of staff member who are called Flossie. So you might hear about Flossie. Flossie is a difficult staff member. I was talking a lot and doing a lot of public speaking and realized I was giving names and I thought I'm going to be sued at one point. So I made up this character called Flossie, and it's all about that difficult staff member, the one that's just really is not fitting in the team anymore because they're just simply hard work. And we've all got or have met at one point or another a few Flossies, whether in our team or worked with those. So you will hear about Flossie. So I don't know what it was, but perhaps because I was such focused leader, that I've always been given the difficult staff members, the difficult teams to really remotivate and bring from a minus to a plus on the figures. So how do I do that? How do I manage, in particular, when I was head of spa operation for Steiner, my last role, having these 8 spas to look after, to really be making sure that not only I deliver the figures, I empower others, but also I have a work-life balance as a single mom that it allows myself to be empowered. And that's a key to the business, in particular in the industry that we have. I've worked with hairdressers when I worked with Urban Retreat, and we set up an Urban Retreat in Kingston called You Are Beautiful. Worked with hairdressers, nail technicians, makeup artists, medi-spa. So I kind of went through the whole array of the industry, and I love it. I'm absolutely passionate about it. And 7 years ago, was asked more and more help. So I became a business consultant, and I've never looked back. And I love empowering others. I love feeling that I can build you as a leader through your soft skills, through what you need to focus on to ensure that you have not only a great business, but also you feel empowered to do more for yourself, for your business, and feel wonderful about what you're achieving. So I guess what we do here at the Delforge Group is we focus on the Delforge 5. We call it the Delforge 5 because I believe if I focus on those 5 areas of the business, I know that the business will increase not only its profitability, but on top of that is year-on-year growth. So we focus on the budget because for me, it's knowing your cost has got to be a priority for every single cost, because every decision that you will make will be a financial decision. It won't be an emotional decision, and that's a lot of the clients that I have and that start with me. It's all about an emotional decision rather than being rational and strategic in the way we function. So budget is the heart of what we should be doing and what we should be looking at. Number 2 is I look at leadership, and this is what I want to talk to you for, today, because leadership for me empowers not just my team, and if you don't have a team, empowers me. I believe we are all leaders. We all are leaders of our life and our businesses and what we want to build. So empowerment of your team, of myself, but also implement the smooth operation, because a true leader shouldn't be stuck in the business because the business runs itself. So how do we do that? And really empowering you is possibly one of the most satisfying aspects of my role as a consultant. Reception for me is the heart of the customer journey. It's where we break and make the money. Reception is making that customer journey feeling where, wow, it's unforgettable. I want to go back there. They're so smooth. They organize everything and they break and make the money because through the diary management and the management of those teams. It's a tough role at reception. So we focus on that a lot through the training programs that we have. We then focus on marketing strategy, to generate great brand advocates and new customers as well. And for me, marketing strategy is a 360 strategy. It's not just what happens on social, it's what happened in Spice, what happened with the networking and everything else. So we look at the strategy. So it's not a lastminute.com strategy, but we look at the 3 months ahead. And then last but not least, for those who know me, and perhaps you've heard of me, you might know that I'm obsessed with retail. For me, it brings in customer loyalty. It's such amazing to work with high-end products that we just should be selling. And unfortunately, it happens very rarely, in particular when we do mystery shops, but it increases your revenue so easily. So we've created a lot of programs for retail because it is absolutely easy to generate at least 20% revenue through retail sales, through retail culture. I don't actually like saying retail sale. I love saying retail culture because it's all about, again, the mindset. So as you will know today, I'm obsessed with that mindset because to me, it's everything. So let's talk about 2020 in all its glory. What has happened this year? What has happened for you as a leader? Well, as a leader, you have really been tested. You know, your skills have been tested. It's your passion, patience rather, was really challenged, wasn't it? And it was scary. We had, where we closing? Are we closing? Are we not closing? Who's closing? And then the opening has been even more painful for a lot of us. So that patience has been really tested. And a lot of time when we feeling that patience, that kind of anxiousness, we do feel a lot of frustration. But your finances have been the focus of your life in 2020 because suddenly, you know, we were making money. Now we've got to cover the cost. Now, when we open the doors, it's not as busy perhaps as you wanted it to be, or perhaps you're manic, but you're scared to spend, so you're stopping your growth. So it's kind of the finances have been really a lot of heartache through the finances. I've met people not long ago, you know, a lot of new clients who've been telling me, look, I used to make 50K a month. Now I'm lucky if I do 15. It's hard. It's disheartening. It's very difficult when that the finances are at stakes. And that's why the passion is running very thin. You know, the passion for the industry perhaps that you had, or perhaps even before COVID, you felt a little bit on the wheel, which is, you know, a lot of people when they meet me or when they get me involved in business, it's like, Valerie, I just feel like I don't know where to start. I'm opening my laptop and I just don't know where to start. So, you know, it's that passion is kind of, you know, what we underestimate is how operational this industry is day in and out is always similar, is always the same. And there's a lot of negative stuff, in particular as a manager or owner, that we have to deal with. So your focus in particular in lockdown was very much all over the place. You know, we listened to this person, this person, and then do that. Oh my God, I haven't done this and I should be doing this, but I've got my kid at home. And, you know, it's just the passion is, and the focus is just becomes a little bit all over the place. And that in itself is very, very unstable. And therefore we can't make rational decisions. Decisions become emotional, or we compare ourselves to others. You know, and a lot of you that have been talking through the lockdown, or even once we opened the door, is the dream has been smashed to pieces. It just feels like a mirror that's been smashed to pieces, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to do all this. So it's a little bit blurry, and that dream and that feeling of unfairness is definitely here, in particular at the moments once we open the doors again. So it's resulting in very difficult emotions. It's resulting in frustration. I should have, I could have, I would have, and all these words that put so much pressure on us. You know, frustration that I could have done more through the lockdown, but you had a child with you because they didn't go to school. And, you know, we feel guilty because we listen to everyone else. So that guilt, that anger of not understanding why we're in this place, and that fear of the unknown, in particular at the moment when we talk about second lockdown, how long is this going to go for? And we fear the fear of the unknown, fear of what 2021 is going to bring. So it's a lot of confusions, and those emotions really are detrimental to not only your mindset, but also ultimately your business. So we've got to somehow deal with those emotions. The business ethics has never been such a strong business ethics challenges, because when we look at the business, should I stay open? Should I not? Do I have to? It's just really difficult decisions from one day to the next. It's like a massive roller coaster. You know, the decision making was very difficult for a lot of you, because if I close now, you know, at the beginning of the pandemic, I'm not going to make the money. We didn't know what Boris was going to do. So it became a decision making that was very, very challenged and blurred for a lot of us until we had the furlough, until we opened again. It's very, very difficult to, you know, see mobile therapists or hairdressers going around, even though we're on lockdown. It's fueled with anger. We're angry. The social media was fueled with anger. We feel so powerless and angry and very difficult to deal with. You know, we're not sure who to trust and who to listen to. I have seen so many posts on different groups that, you know, should I have this? Should I do this? And everyone gets involved, and we forget about the concept that we've built in the first place, because we are confused. And there is that element of no one really cares. You know, everyone's on the same boat, everyone's going through it. So no one really cares about my personal situation. So it's a very, very difficult, challenging time in 2020. When I worked with L'Occitane, I had 22 boutiques to look after. It's a French brand. People call it L'Occitane. And at the time, they wanted to open spas, so they got me involved. But I did regional management for a while. We had about 22, 25 boutiques to look after. And my director said to me, Valerie, if there is an issue with a boutique, if they are on a minus, if they're not doing the figures, 95% of the time, it's the leader's fault. And I was like, oh, that's really harsh. I think that's really harsh. You know, it could be your flossie that's being difficult. It could be the lack of marketing. It could be the town that's suffering. That's really harsh to say that. But I love when people say things like that to me, because it just makes me think, is it right? Is it not? I'm trying to understand it and take a step back and look at it. So I went in that mindset every time I was looking at a boutique that was on a negative or not achieving the budget. You know, looking at how the manager would function. And actually, the more I worked in that mindset, the more I realized, yeah, I think he's right. I think that unfortunately, 95% of the time, and it's a harsh percentage to believe in, you know, it kind of is the mindset of the leader, a mindset of the owner. And when I get involved as a consultant, and that's why I talk a lot about mindset, even with the budget, I talk about mindset. Even when it comes to the leading the team or leading your time management, you know, it kind of is you. And the moment we start shifting the focus on the key elements that I know are going to make your growth, and not too many, just 2 or 3 key elements. And then we build on that, and we shift the mindset, and you feel lighter, already things are happening. So I can see, and I understood that very quickly. And the problem when we really look at, you know, the leader and the way you're functioning as a leader, it does result in pressure. You feel a hell of a lot of pressure if your operation, if your procedures are not in place. It's all on me. It's all on my shoulders. It's my fault. It's very much me that's not dealing. I should have, could have, would have. It's all these words again. So it really results in low mindset. It results in feeling very, very overwhelmed, which is when I meet a lot of people, that sense of overwhelming, that I need to do that and I haven't done it. And if I did this, that would be better. Not long ago, I met someone through the lockdown who was telling me all these options that she had. And we met literally a couple of weeks ago, and she still was questioning all these options. But in the meantime, 4 months have happened. So how can we make sure that, you know, that kind of overwhelming mindset goes away? or kind of feels more secure in the way you're making those decisions. Because a lot of time when I meet leaders, when I meet a lot of managers, etc., the work-life balance is extremely blurred. And this is one of those industries where, unfortunately, we are very much operational. The day-to-day can be intense for managers and owners. Sometimes we're only dealing with the negative. And I used to say to my managers, when I was at Bliss in particular, I had a very difficult team. It was, 50 staff members, and it was very tough. We were on a minus. They were on a minus for the past 5 years. And, how am I going to bring a team that's very set in their ways and having that work-life balance? So I was saying to my managers, look, you're going to be dealing with all the crap and none of the glory. So let's look at absolutely how can we build that mindset around your day so you can go home and not feel overwhelmed with absolutely everything that you need to do. So the work-life balance is very much blurred. And what I want to introduce you today is those soft skills. The soft skills that are going to help you change and twist that mindset a little bit and really focus perhaps on your self-development, which is so important. Because if we think that 95% of the time if a business doesn't work is because of the owner and the way we think about it, I'm not saying it's always your fault, but there is an element on the way perhaps you're functioning that we need to tweak. Then your soft skills as a leader really have to be developed, and that's what I do, and that's what I love doing when I work with owners and managers in the industry. So the soft skills of leaderships, there are many. If you look on the lovely Google, you're going to Google many, but these are the ones that I feel are very, very relevant for you. Number one is self-motivation. And a lot of time, even if you worked on your own, I was talking to a mobile hairdresser who was feeling, it's hard to work on my own, and how do I motivate myself? That self-motivation is very important for you to feel that it's something that talks to you. I can give you plenty of things that work for me, but it might not work for you. So find perhaps a podcast that you love, and when you walk the dog or you to take your children to school, and on the way back, you're really empowered by that. There's loads of stuff on YouTube, podcasts that you can listen to. Listen to read some books that you feel are really relevant to you at that particular moment, because you're going to keep growing. Eventually something else will come up that really empowers you. That self-motivation is also having a business coach, and that's what I do. I love kind of really supporting my clients to keep that motivation going and keep that long term. At the moment, for example, I keep saying to them, we're just going to ride this wave. Let's cover our costs and try and put money where we can aside for the cash flow, and we're riding that wave, and we keep focusing on that vision out there for the 2021, 2022, because life will carry on and will happen. It's not all about just right now. So self-motivation is you really focusing perhaps on those key elements, but don't do too many. When I talk to people who are on loads of different groups and focused on social media, and then the vision becomes blurry and we have too many things going on. Focus on the key things you feel are relevant for you. Then it's responsibility, taking that responsibility and feeling, what, perhaps it is me, how I've managed before. I never had time, never took the time with my staff. I allowed this person to become a flossy, my budget wasn't looked after. What is it in the sense of responsibility that you can develop to understand, okay, I assessed what I've been responsible for, how can I then move forward? And then you find the solutions. If it's budget, if it's leadership, etc., then you find the people that can help you, or the tools that can help you to accept that. I always feel as a leader, when, for example, I had someone becoming a flossy or being difficult, I always go back to me first. Is it me? Have I been doing everything in my power to ensure that I empower that person, that I've made sure that this couldn't happen again? So I always go back to me first, because perhaps it is the way that I haven't had time with that person, or I've not really given, the tools for them to be successful, or something was wrong in the onboarding of that new person. So anything is always about me. Have I dealt with it first? Take a step back and then find that solution. Teamwork is so important, and I think that's what's been very challenged lately, because once we've come back from lockdown, there was a lot of you on lockdown that were saying, and I was talking to, that were saying, oh, they're on furlough and they're just enjoying themselves. And I kept saying, well, it's not holiday. They're not on holiday. Some of them are struggling, so it's not all that black and white. And then they come back, and it's finding that kind of togetherness again, isn't it? That connection between us as a team, and it's all the PPE and everything's a little bit more cold as a customer journey. And how do I feel comfortable with this person now? They're just on flexi furlough, so they're part-time and they go home and they don't. So there's that element of teamwork. I always say to my clients, look, you have to, if you do this role, you have to, as a leader or as an owner, you have to love people. There's a love for people that needs to be there in the first place. But that teamwork is also an element of you, for sure, managing the team the way you want it to manage, but bringing everyone together to make sure that each individual is empowered. So it's a difficult skill to really have, and that's what we love to do here. That's what I love empowering you with. But really kind of think about, are you doing your individual meetings enough? Are you doing your team meetings enough? Are you really focusing on the team rather than PPE, money, PPE, money? And it doesn't actually, focus you on a long run. It focuses you on a very short term. And therefore the team might not be so engaged at that point. But to be fair, there's a lot of teams that I've been dealing with that have been amazing and understood that, yeah, do you know what, we'll do whatever it takes. If we have to take a pay cut, if it cuts, or if we have to increase the hours, it's not a problem. So teamwork is a very important soft skill to develop. Problem solving is hugely important. How do I solve a problem without having the emotion in it? And that's a very, very difficult skill to have, because it's your baby. You've created this, perhaps, if you've been manager for a while, and it's like something that feels that if something goes wrong, it's attacking you, isn't it? It's like a knife in your heart, like, oh, why is this happening? So problem solving is very important as a leader, because being able to not have that emotion, take a step back and overlook the problem and find a solution for the business needs is probably one of the most important skills. But I'm going to keep saying that, one of the most important skills, but it's a very important skill to have, because then you can go home and not worry about that decision that you've made. Decisiveness is really crucial, and I keep making a lot of people, in particular since the opening, who feel that if I should do this and then maybe I could do that, and actually we go around and around in circle, and we're not really making a practical decision. We're making a decision in the sense of the emotional decision, and perhaps we should have, could have, oh, if I decided that would have been better, oh my God, I've made wrong. So we've got to stop all of that. That kind of has to brush off, because otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy. I always say, look, we're going to make a decision according to the budget. We're going to make a decision according to the team you have at the moment. We're going to be decisive about that decision, and we're going to go for it. No more if, what, or if what, if, with if, we can't do everything. But we have to make that decision and be sure about the decision. And perhaps we made a bit of a mistake, but that's okay. That's life, isn't it? It's a choice that you make, and then we go for it. So decisiveness is the leadership skill that is, going to allow you to reassure you as a leader. Resilience is extremely important. And when I talk about resilience, I guess it's your strength, it's your mental strength, it's your mental ability to really feel that you have got a strong mindset to move forward with anything that's thrown at you. So resilience is so key for you as a leader to develop, because otherwise you just feel a little bit overwhelmed and definitely not in the right place. Empathy is another one. Empathy for me, I'm very, very operational. Everything has a procedure. It's very clear. This is the way we function. And if I'm not here, everyone knows. They even know who to call if there's a problem with a key, because that's the person I want to deal with, the locksmith I want to deal with. They know everything, because whether I'm in a business or not, it's going to happen. But the empathy comes when you really deal with issues perhaps that are thrown at you that are out of the ordinary. So the empathy is very important, to have a balance with empathy. What is good for the business you know, it might not be good for the decision you're going to do with that particular situation or that particular person. So having enough empathy so it doesn't affect the business in the long run and badly, then it's okay. So empathy is also difficult when you are going through a lot to feel empathetic, to feel that empathy, because obviously you're going through so much yourself. So it's like that passion's running thin, isn't it? So with empathy, I guess with the soft skills, if you are sure about what you've built and the structure and the operational setup that you want in your business, then you can have more empathy, and you can deal with everything that's thrown at you with more empathy. But having those decisions that are still clear for your business. Negotiation skills, I think that's very important as a leader, to be able to negotiate everything from your suppliers to anything to do with contracts and everything like that. So very important. Conflict resolution, and we are going to brush up on that, because with conflict resolution, when you have something that's really difficult to deal with, or something that's is going back home, and being able to leave it in a business and not kind of going around in circle, isn't it? Conflict resolution is finding the solution for the business, finding the solution for the conflict that is going to be the best. So conflict resolution allows you to deal with the flosses, deal with the clients that can be flosses, and allow you to be able to take that step back and oversee the conflicts as a challenge that we can answer to, rather than this happened again. That when we feel like that, it generates a very negative mindset. So that's why I work a lot on with my clients, because conflict resolution allows you to be a lot more rounded and a lot more creative as a leader, because you're finding solutions and you will sleep at night with those solutions. Integrity, I've put it as a soft skill because so many times I meet people who want to do this and that, and actually they don't live the life that they want, and they don't really feel that integrity part of what they've created. So integrity is very, very, it's a subject that could be a webinar on its own. And being integral with yourself as much as your business and the people around you is definitely a skill that must be developed. And it cannot happen without a strong vision. And perhaps at the moment, do we feel that we can have that? Do we feel that the vision is there, or is it very blurry? But until you've worked on that vision, the integrity is not going to sit right. That's very important to understand. So one more soft skill that's one of my favorite, and perhaps one that is going to be the I guess goes hand on hand to leadership. It's delegation. So the opposite of leadership is micromanagement. Oh, I'd rather do it myself. They're going to make a mistake anyway. However, when we talk about delegation is when we start really empowering others. We empower the others to really create and be leaders themselves. When I meet clients or new clients, and they come to you, yeah, but if she does that, she's going to get better, and then she's going to want to leave me. But great, whilst she's with you and she's going to want to learn, and she's going to be with you with 2 to 4 or 5 years, that's great. Let's make the most of it. If the business run itself on an operational level with all the procedures, no one is irreplaceable. But let's enjoy that person who wants to learn more and be delegated to, because whilst she does a lot of work on the operational level, did I want to count when I was a GM at Bliss the stock? No, I didn't. I didn't have time to count the stock. No, I did not have time to, do my first round of interview. I'll do the second round. Thank you very much. So, because whilst I'm not stuck doing all the first round of interview or the stock, I can do something else. So delegation is the key to leadership, the key to your time management, but the key to empowering others. Really look into delegation, and I'm going to do quite a lot on that because I believe that's the heart of everything. And since the lockdown, since we've opened the doors again, Suddenly we've gone back, oh, I may as well do it myself. Oh, I'm going to open a column because I don't want to bring in someone because it's going to cost me. Oh, so it's just going back to square one. Do we really want that? Do we want to go back to square one? You've built something for so long. Let's not have that virus have the best of you. And you don't have to. If you really know the budget, it goes back to budget. You see, it goes back to leadership, budget. It's all linked. There are two very important soft skills that I want to talk to you right now. It's all about flexibility, and flexibility has never been so intense. In 2020, you know, we have had to really, really be flexible in the way we're thinking. And flexibility for me is definitely assessment of the situation. I'm going to assess the situation before I jump and overreact. Now, you need to understand, being a French person, you know, at the time I came into the UK at 21 years old. I'm telling my age now, but, you know, I kind of you know, was very bold. And I guess I've got a reputation of being quite strict, but I never really was strict. I was consistent in what if I said something, I would do it, you know, and I would never have to scream or shout or, you know, had difficult kind of, well, I've had difficult conversation, but I never really, very rarely did I really lose my temper, because I learned that actually if I react straight away to a situation, which is what I used to do when I was younger, you know, being French, like really, woo, you know, bold and bullshit, and this is the way it is, you know. But I've realized very quickly in my career when I was in Clarence, you know, my boss said to me, look, if you don't take a step back and assess what goes on and you react straight away, it becomes emotional. And I've understood that very quickly, having to manage very big teams, because that otherwise you drive yourself crazy, number one, but also you actually don't find a solution that is relevant for the business. You find a solution that's hardly relevant for you because you just overreacted. Next thing you know, you've created another problem. So assess that situation, not reacting straight away, taking that step back. And it's always, always, always the business needs in mind. What does the business need so I can have the best solution for the business and the person? You know, it's going back to that flexibility of mind. It's all about solution finding mindset. If you adopt that solution finding mindset, attitude to everything, I promise you it starts becoming a little bit, I wouldn't say easier, it starts becoming a little bit more, okay, I can handle that challenge. Let me find that solution. Okay, what solution is there? Let me find the best solution for this. It becomes less heavy, is what I want to say. You know, if I assume as a leader, which is what I've done throughout my career, I remember at one point at Bliss, we had everything the way I wanted it. We had the managers really empowered. The reception was working. Everyone was making the figures. We went from a minus 27% on last year to a plus 3 on target. So we smashed last year in not even a year. There was no investment. The spa was falling apart. And just we had two machines left when we should have had 6. You know, it was intense in an operational level, but the team mindset was switched on. I had switched every single one of them to really be on that winning situation. You know, and I remember at one point it was completely like, yeah, this is the way I wanted to be. I started doing a lot of networking, etc. But I said to my managers, look, always assume there's going to be an issue, because if you can prevent and anticipate that issue, then you find a solution before even it happens. And that's when your flexibility of mind, flexibility of your leadership skills becomes really, really powerful. So yeah, I love that soft skill, as you can hear. And obviously anyone that works with me will know that time management is the heart of everything as far as I'm concerned. I keep saying that, I know, but it is definitely the heart of everything. That reception and the budget, you know, time management, I guess, is the soft skill to adopt as a leader. And if you're not good at your time management, develop that first. Find what works for you. We have got a time management module at the Delphos group, but find what works for you. Find what you feel is going to be the system that's going to empower every single person that I start with, when we do the time management exercise and we really focus on that, they're feeling more organized. They've got a much clearer vision. The business is, they're not firefighting. You know, business is not firefighting. We're really looking at business solution. And there's no like, oh, quick this, oh, quick this, really stopping that firefighting. There's a sense of achievement, of a direction. We create a structure, a process. You know, it focuses on you and everyone around you, because you start managing what I call the time killers. You know, those time killers that stops you from actually creating the time to work on your business. So time management is the heart of you as a leader feeling empowered. So when I was saying to you earlier, 95% is the manager's fault or the owner's fault, you know, it's because really, if you think about it, you might not have had that time management on top of, because you are overwhelmed with everything that goes around you. And the time management, if you don't take the time to spend with your team, they're the ones making the money. If you're working on, so how can you not spend time and assume they're okay? You know, never assume when you have a team. If you work on your own, your time management is even more crucial, because I'm meeting a lot of mobile hairdressers or therapists at the moment who, you know, are trying to make sense of it all. And they're realizing that they're saying yes to everything. So what happens next? They've left a job to actually go into something that is not relevant anymore for them, because their time management is not managed. So time management is everything for you to be able to switch off and have that work-life balance. It really is important. I've learned time management very early in my career with Clarence. Clarence was great on in the operational, organizational type of things, and time management really, really helped me to manage my two, you know, girls at home, growing girls, and up to 230 people in between. Sometimes when we say, you know, actually I'm on my own, and or I've only got one more person to manage, or there's only 5 of us, sometimes that's harder. Sometimes it's harder than me with 250 people. Why? Or 30 people rather. Why? Because you're on your own, so it's all falls on you. Sometimes having bigger team, yeah, you've got bigger headaches, more flosses, and definitely more organizational stuff to do, but you've got more people to delegate to. When it's a small team or you're on your own, it's you alone. It's on your shoulders. So your time management needs to be even more on point. So do focus on time management. So how are we going to develop those soft skills? What are we going to do? This is one of my favorite sentence, I guess, that I tell everybody. You know, you can't control the uncontrollable, but you can control how you react to it. You know, really important. You can't control what happens around you. You know, in particular this year, for example, we couldn't control, no one could have predicted what happened, but we can control how we react to it. And again, if we think of those soft skills, taking a step back to assess a situation rather than being fueled by everything that goes on social media, being fueled by I should have, could have, would have, didn't. You know, how many people did I talk to on lockdown who felt so guilty because they had to do homeschooling? But this is a priority. This is your priority right now. Even if you do an hour of on your business, even if you stop and actually, you know, try and enjoy as much as you can what's going on at home, then do that, because the business will still be there. It's just a matter of working differently. So adaptability, flexibility. Can you see how the leadership skills help you to overcome and react to what's happening around you, virus or no virus, much better and more in control about your emotions? Really, really important. As far as I'm concerned, we are all leaders. We are all leaders. But a true leader, not a true leader, that's not the right sentence at all, because we are all leaders. We are all leaders. But a leader, I guess, that has a much stronger focus on the future is a leader that has a really laser clear vision. They know exactly where they're going and what they want. Now, it might not be a 5-year, 10-year plan, but at least for the next year, end of next year, what do you want to achieve by then? Be super very clear on what you want to achieve by then. It's beyond I want a happy team. It's beyond all of that. We want to know where you're going by the end of next year. What do you want to learn? Do your vision for your personal empowerment as much as your professional vision. But the leader who really is a kind of a strong leader, I guess, is the ones that have that clear vision. It's the one that are going to empower more people because they are really clear about what they want and where they're going. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we are all leaders because you all have skills. Whether you work on your own or with a large team, you all have skills. So you've got your skills. You know, if you ask me to do branding and designing and everything else, I don't draw very well at all, actually. That's not my skill. But if you ask me everything on operation, everything on leadership, everything on all the Delphos fight, I'm there. I'm your girl. So what are your skills? And how can we develop them even more? And if you don't know how to do one thing, how can you outsource it? So your time management is not affected. What's really important as well in leadership and what you're going through at the moment is your USP. And I feel at the moment it's all a bit blurred because it's all PPE. I went to my hairdresser in September when it opened again. Actually a month after it opened, because I kind of again assumed it was going to be busy and I didn't have time myself, to be fair. So I took time, and you know, normally you go there, you've got a head massage, you choose your oil, they give you a glass of champagne in the afternoon. If it's the afternoon, in the morning they give you a nice lovely, you know, hot tea or whatever. Just beautiful, lovely. Now all PPE, the prices have increased. It wasn't great, and I don't even know what their USP are. Now, I didn't mind spending the money before because that money had value. It had value on how I felt, on the customer journey, on the empowerment of me as a client. Like, wow, that was so good. I love it. And that money, I don't even know how much I've spent because it was so good. I loved it. Now that money that I'm spending with all that very cold customer journey, and I don't even know why I'm going there anymore because I don't even know what their USP are. You know, and I don't think they know because they're so focused on bringing in the money and making sure the PPE works. So it's very cold. Now my money has value. I'm not even sure I would go back there. So your USP should be really revised. So your unique selling point, what makes you unique from you to your competitors? Because right now it's a survival of the fittest, and the unique selling point will make you step above from all of the competition that you have around you. Your passion, how we're going to ignite that passion by developing your soft skill, by developing what you can in order to feel empowered yourself, and the passion will come back. And maybe it's a slightly different course. I'm talking to a lot of people at the moment where, do you know what? Yeah, I want to feel empowered by this. I want to create, I want it. Why not? If we had a magic wand, what would you want? Why not try and have that as a vision? Because your passion will feel lighter and will come back again. You know, your future is in your hands. You're building that. If we're still focusing on the second lockdown and oh my God, and this right now, all I keep saying to my clients, let's ride the wave. Let's ride that wave. Let's overcome that wave. You know, let's hopefully make more than what's going, you know, cover the costs, ride the wave, put a bit of cash aside for the cash flow, take as much as we can from the government, revise the opening hours, revise what we need to do so we really know where we're at. But your future is still there. You're still going to be there next year if you really focus properly on those leadership skills and on what you want to happen for the future. Otherwise, you're just kind of in that will again, isn't it? And what's the point of that? And that's where we feel very deflated. So self-development for me is very, very important. And it always has been. And as a single mom, I guess, for me, I never really had the 5-year plan because I was just happy for, you know, for my girls to be growing and everything to manage, all the work and in between, etc. So the self-development has always been very important. And I never had that 5-year plan, but I had that 1-year plan. What do I want to develop within that year? A lot of it was leadership, communication, you know, anything to do with retail as well. I developed a lot of that. I developed so many skills that I felt were relevant. Time management was always there. And what do I want by the end of the year? I knew in January, I knew what I wanted to achieve by the end of the year on a personal and a professional level. Now, for the past, I guess, 7 years, I've got my 10-year plan. I know where I want to go, and it's laser focused. I know exactly where I'm going, and I'm going for it. So really, on the self-development, I mentioned earlier, mentoring and coaching, do get in touch if you want to really kind of start talking and connecting. You do need to connect with your business coach. If you're going to have one, or a mentor, you need to feel you can connect and you feel empowered by them. So important. Reading is very important, all the podcasts, things that really make you feel good. But don't diverse yourself too much where you've got 10 different things going on and you end up doing nothing. I used to focus on about, as I said, 3 things that are going to empower me, and I know I'm going to be consistent with it. So by the end of the year, I've created what I wanted to create. Understand your weaknesses and work on them. Now, don't get me wrong. I know I'm not good at drawing. Doesn't mean I'm going to become a graphic designer, because I'm definitely not going to work on that. It doesn't really apply to me. I'd rather outsource it. But I will work on the weaknesses I feel. And throughout the years, I have done that I feel need a chance, but I don't feel guilty about it. If you start feeling guilty about the weaknesses, it means that somewhere along the line, you're putting far too much pressure on yourself. Enough of that. We've got enough pressure. So let's look at how can we make it better. For me, a true leader develops everyone else's leadership skills. So it's important to look at your team and see what can I develop for them. How can I make them better? How can I empower them? Because a team that's empowered, like my team at Bliss, they were all kind of more or less flossies. They will tell you, and by the time we finished the year, we were smashing those figures. And I didn't do any investment. It's all in the mind. All in the mind. We switch that switch in the mind. If they are empowered, I'm winning. If they win, I win. If they want to leave me in 2 years, it's fine. No one is irreplaceable. And I feel like I've been empowering them to be even better in their career. That's one of the most rewarding aspects of my role. Each leadership skills will promote a smooth operation. And the smoother the operation, the more relaxed you will feel in the procedures that are happening. And communication, to me, is the heart of leadership. I know I've said the heart of everything from, I kind of need perhaps to look at that a little bit. But communication, I guess, perhaps I should have put the key to leadership. Definitely time management is the heart of it, and communication is the key of it. You just need to know that they're very important. The most important communication for me, I've been obsessed with communication, maybe because being French, I've had to, as I said earlier, rein that temper in, make sure I wasn't so blunt in my delivery, understand and not take things personally. That's a big skill to have, when you don't take things personally, even if they attack you. It's the key to empower others. If we look at communication, if there are too much of it, it actually kills it. If there's too little communication, it causes frustration and misunderstanding. So it's finding that right balance. To me, communication sets clear expectations. It builds really strong bonds between you and your team, or you and the customers, or you and your family. Communication is everything from a personal to a professional element. It engages through what I call the chocolate language. I love that word because I love chocolate, maybe, but chocolate language is all about, empowering others for what you feel and they feel like, oh, I want to work for her. That's, when I was doing interviewing, for example, I knew immediately that person might not be right for me, but I knew in London in particular, it's a small town in some respect in the industry. So my reputation, is good. We're all going to have a reputation. And I kind of knew if I want her to leave feeling she wants to work for me, because if she goes out there, she will say, oh, I want to work for Valerie. I went for an interview, and that boom, 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 it go everywhere. And maybe I might find something in her that I could definitely develop. So that chocolate language works on anything, that empowerment of others. It's fascinating when you start really looking into it. And if you do know me, I'm obsessed with this. And if you haven't read it yet, please do. It's called Drop the Pink Elephant by Bill McFarlane. It's one of my favorite books on communication. It's absolutely excellent. Drop the Pink Elephant by Bill McFarlane, and you will find it on Amazon. So there are 7 keys of communication. Number 1 is a self-talk. Self-talk is probably the most destroying element of leadership, because, you know, the whole all should have, could have, would have. How many leaders and owners and managers that I meet who literally don't sleep because they've been worrying about things. If I don't sleep, I can't empower others. Sleep is very important. It regenerates my thought process, taking that step back. You know, if you take a little book for the next 3 weeks and you put it in your pocket with a pen next to it, and every time you remember, because we have so many thoughts coming through, but every time you remember a talk to yourself, you know, write down that talk. You will be shocked on what comes out. We are so hard on ourselves, harder than any other person that you've met, even if they, you know, if you didn't have a good connection with them. We are so hard on ourselves. It's incredible. If we start to really nurturing that self-talk, you will find that your mindset will shift completely. Really, really important. You know, try and start. I was just talking to someone today, and, you know, it was all about, you know, I didn't do that and I'm not good at that. Look, I'm not good at that. Look at that. And for 5 years, I didn't do it. But you've had the business for 25 years. So you've done something wrong somewhere. Otherwise, you wouldn't have survived 25 years. But she keeps making those assumption and everything. Oh, and it's fine. It's just the business needs a bit of a tweak. But if you start really driving yourself crazy and bringing yourself down, you know, we don't do it better than anyone else, then you will have that mindset that is very, very compromised. You know, reassess what's important for the business needs. And I do that every single year. And that's why in January, for me, no managers were allowed to go on holiday until the strategies on every single element of the business will be done. Marketing, retail, HR, operation, everything had to be done. And they could go on holiday only and only if all the strategies were dealt with. Because if they were on holiday because they're tired after Christmas in January, you will find that, you know, by the time you do a strategy, it'll be February or March. So then it's a bit late. You've lost 1 quarter already. So we've got to really look at that. I love what I call the hot dog communication. Some people call it a little bit different, something sandwich, but I don't want to say that in a professional video. So we talk about the hot dog communication, you know, positive, negative, positive. Look, Flossie, I think you're an incredible therapist and you've actually got incredible reviews at the moment. You know, you've really knows how to do that. However, I've got this and this as this I need to talk to you about. So it's a hot dog communication, and we finish on the negative. Positive, negative, positive. It works at every time. The only time it doesn't work is for teenagers. That definitely doesn't work. But the rest, it works. Hot dog communication. Really remember that every time you talk to someone. Hot dog, positive. I remember some managers used to tell me, Valerie, I don't know what to say positive to Flossie because there's nothing positive to say. There's always something positive to say. It's not all that doom and gloom. And if it is, then you've taken it too far. And now we need to go on performance management. Meetings organized in a diary, if they are not in a diary, they will not happen. And that should be your priority. Since the opening, you know, we've been so busy making money, we've forgotten about those meetings. That's when communication goes wrong, because we assume and there's misunderstanding. Meetings, it doesn't have to be an hour with a cup of tea. It can just be 15 minutes, but not in a backwash somewhere, you know, quickly in passing. That's not communication. It's sitting down eyes to eyes and we're going to talk. Let me take some time with you right now and really going to talk. I promise you, it makes a huge difference to the empowerment of your team. I've put it there, Drop the Pink Elephant. See, is there. Drop the Pink Elephant is the book you need on communication, and start with that. And if you have read it and you've done it, there are plenty of podcasts on communication. Open door policy is monitored. You know, I love open door policy. When I was at Bliss, very American spa, you know, oh, we've got an open door policy. You know, I'm thinking, yeah, not for too long. It was monitored because I needed that 2 hours in the afternoon, open door all the time, but 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon. I had a scarf on my door and say, when I've got my scarf, I need to focus, because otherwise I keep being disturbed. And it's a bit like your phone, isn't it? If you work from home as an owner and your phone is constantly being disturbed, if you need to do a project or something, you will be far more efficient if you put the phone down and focus on that project and look and take the phone afterwards. My Boston clients used to say, Valerie, we selling creams and lipsticks. Let's get things into perspective. We are not, we are definitely not brain surgeons. So let's not, take things too dramatic. This is very important. Phone the home phone. Otherwise, you can wait for an hour or two. And definitely come with me with solutions. I used to say to my managers, I don't want to hear problems. I've got plenty to deal with. And that's, as an owner, we deal with loads of problems. So when you come to me, come with a solution first. Think of a solution. If you can't find a solution, we'll find one together. But think of a solution first. It is an amazing way of really empowering others to think. Because a lot of time, and you know that, they've got the solution themselves. It's just they haven't had, perhaps, can be bothered to think of one. Perhaps they're a little bit scared of making that step. But, if they check up with you, I remember one day, I'm getting bliss because there's been so many issues. I could just make a book on just that particular spot. There was so many issues in there when I took it on board. It's probably one of the biggest challenge I've ever had in my career. And, I was saying to them, look, I'm dealing with so many negatives. I need you to come with solutions. I remember getting a call one day on the way to work, to Bliss, and my managers turned around and said, look, we have a problem with the water, and we have 70 pedicures booked today and manicures. So therefore, we have a major problem. So the solution is I have phoned the plumber. Is coming at 12 o'clock. So for the pedicure this morning, we went to Sainsbury. We bought loads of Evian water, and we're going to warm them up at the back, and it'll be done and be no problem. Wow, that's amazing. I've not even had time to think. Isn't that better than, getting a phone call? Oh my God, there's no water. What do I do? You know what to do. He knows that he needed to phone the plumber. The whole solution with the Evian water, I would not even have thought about it. I thought that was brilliant because he felt empowered enough to create a solution that was brilliant because we didn't cancel anyone. And another one as well for me as communication is stop spoon feeding. I keep telling everyone, stop spoon feeding. That's the hard thing. Ask question. If you've got a flossy in front of you or somebody, you know the solution, you know what you want. You know what you want. You don't need to tell them, because what happens in communication when you say, well, I didn't want you to do that because if you do that, it's going to affect this. And, I told you needed to do more because this. And, do you remember when I asked you to do 20% retail rate, but actually you're not on there. So the way you need to do it is this. Do you know what's going to happen? It's going to go from one ear out of the other. They're going to be like, oh, yeah. But take no responsibility because they're not going to even remember what you told them. And it's not even that. They're not going to feel empowered enough to actually care about what you've just told them. So stop spoon feeding the information. Ask open-ended question instead. So why do you think it's a difficult situation? So you coming late all the time. So tell me, you're amazing, hot dog communication, you're amazing, you've got great reviews, or, your job is really incredible, you've got a good customer rate, whatever. You're amazing. But tell me, you coming late all the time, 20 minutes, why do you think it's a difficult situation for the business? So it becomes not personal, me to attack to you, to the flossy, or to the person in front of me. It's a business needs, number one. And number two, I'm going to ask you the question because I know why. But you tell me what you think. And we can talk about it. Because whilst you're talking about it, you're thinking about it. And you're having to answer me that question. How do you think this will affect the relationship with the team? Tell me, how do you think it will affect the relationship? I'm not telling you because I know how it's affecting the teams, getting fed up of you being late all the time and having to deal with a client all the time. So why do you think this will have consequences? Tell me, why do you think it's going to have consequences? How do you manage your morning if you're going to be constantly late? Tell me what happens. Do you have what happens? Why are you always late? So when do you feel this attitude started? Can you understand where I'm coming from? Is asking questions so they talk, so you find a solution together, solution finding mindset. It's all about stopping. Look, I don't want you to be late because it's affecting the team, it's affecting the customer, They will not care, they will carry on. It's empowering others to make sure that they understand it's their responsibility, not yours. Now, if they carry on, then it's a performance management issue. And for that, we obviously learn about that. It's a different, but at least you've kind of got the engagement first before you just go there, because all they're going to hear is that boo, 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 boo. They're not going to hear anything. So stop spoon feeding the information. Remember that when you talk, it's a practice. It does take practice and it does take skills. And believe me, that's what I've had to do early on in my career, because I realized if I go all gun blazing, I actually get nowhere. People get defensive, they get fed up. Next thing you know, they're going to go on to, sickness and she's victimizing me and blah, blah, blah. We don't want any of that. We're going to make sure we give everyone that responsibility of their role, because if you do your role, my role gets a hell of a lot easier. And I can do the role as a leader because I can go and do more. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are keen to learn more, you can follow us at the Delphos Group. We've got loads of things coming up, and we've worked incredibly hard to make sure that we could empower as many people as possible. Obviously, you've got a one-to-one leadership coaching with myself. We've got an intensive leadership course that is launching in 2021, so you can generate your interest if you wanted to. And obviously, we've got the membership programs, which are really been phenomenal. I love getting involved. I love one-to-one coaching. That's for me. I think group coaching is great to some extent. I do a lot of masterclass and lives. We do lives with Terry, my trainer on retail. So I do love lives, but for me, the one-to-one, I get involved in your business, in your mindset a lot more. And as you can hear, that is my passion. I hope you heard this. So you can contact us at support@thedelphosgroup.co.uk. This is also the handle for the Facebook and Instagram, but also the website, thedelphosgroup.co.uk. And we will be delighted to be supporting you with any questions that you might have. I hope you enjoy it. Do give us feedback. Do send us a little email. Do send us a little something, review, whatever you want, because we love feedback. We thrive on it. And for the moment, I wish you all the best, and be empowered yourself to empower others is really, really actually quite incredible in the long run. So I hope you let me know. I'd love to know. Take care.